Hi there everyone. Welcome to your pre-scene analysis part 1 for the strategic case study exam in November 2023 and February 2024. This pre-scene analysis is going to be a very detailed go through, linking every single aspect, every single part to your E3, P3 and F3 syllabus, pointing out the top issues which can come up in the exam because we have gone through the pre-scene multiple times, and because we are CIMA registered tuition providers and hold the Global Pass Rate Excellence Award, we know the type of questions that come up in the exam, and we try to go through the important topics, important concepts, pointing out the top issues which we feel are relevant for your study while understanding the company's operations in detail. It will not be a brief skim through. It's a detailed analysis, because without knowing your company, how are you going to expect to do a good job on a case study exam where questions are going to be about this company? So a detailed analysis of Robobryce will be given. Top issues will be pointed out. Important issues will also be pointed out and related to your E3, P3 and F3 syllabus in this pre-scene part 1. Remember, this is only the part 1, which is the intro. We have part 2 and part 3, which total is 3.5 hours. And trust me, you listen to my pre-scene analysis 2 times or 3 times from now till the date of your exam, you know everything that there is to know about Robobryce. And also you have great topics which you can now revise. Now what we have done is, we have devised and created a free mini course for the strategic case study exam. It's absolutely free. There are no catches here. In this mini course, we have included an extra external industry analysis. We have included our one-of-a-kind blueprint explanations. We have included tips on mock writing. We have included a free mini mock with personalized feedback, which no other tuition provider is going to provide, and a whole bunch of other bonus material for free. The link for the mini course is in the description box below. You don't have to do anything. Click on the link and everything will be self-explanatory after that. It's for free. Try it. The link is in the description below. So without further ado, let me begin with this pre-scene part 1, and you'll see the value that we deliver through a pre-scene analysis which is detailed. Again, don't forget, free mini course, link is in the description below. Let's start. So let's start with the introduction. The introduction is the first page. Now let me tell you what we do with this pre-scene analysis. It's something completely new, different that we try to do, so that the information given by CIMA, which is bland, which is boring, becomes a little bit more understandable, relatable, and obviously makes sense from the E3, P3 and F3 perspective. So what we do is, we take the exact CIMA pre-scene, we copy paste it, and then in that particular pre-scene we add our own annotations, our own suggestions, my own text boxes to make it understandable for you, to make it something that you can easily follow and easily understand. So over here you'll see me going through word by word, part by part of the pre-scene. You won't have to refer to anything else, because everything that you need, every analysis that you need will come from us. Only my document, only my video on the pre-scene will cover everything. So when I start reading, if I find something important, if I find something that, okay, I should discuss this, then I will add a text box and I will tell you the importance or discuss the, that particular topic with you. Let me show you by starting. So Robobryce is a quoted company that creates solutions for handling objects, primarily in warehouses and factories. So we create solutions for handling objects, how objects should be handled, primarily in warehouses and factories. So the very important part for me to note over here is that Robobryce is a quoted company. So they're telling me what my company does, but they're also included the word quoted. Now quoted means listed on the stock exchange. Because it's listed on the stock exchange, let's keep a couple benefits and limitations in mind. When you are a listed company, you have access to capital for growth, you can issue new shares, and there is better visibility. Your company is visible to all because share price is visible to all. The disadvantages are that there will be enhanced scrutiny, government scrutiny as well, and there are lots of reporting requirements. Because the word quoted company popped up, it is very important that I discuss it, and I brought it to your notice over here. So now you won't forget it. So since we are a listed company, it will be important to present the profitability ratios, lender ratios, investor ratios very properly in my financial analysis, in my financial statements, because the market and investors will be looking at these ratios before they invest in your company, before they give your company money, or before they support your company. Let's put it that way. When we go deeper into the pre-scene and when we do my financial analysis, we will also be bringing this up for discussion. But because these ratios have been mentioned, let me tell you that this is from your F3 syllabus. Before I move on, there are some important factors to consider for any service-oriented logistics handling company. Now, at the end of the day, we are part of logistics, right? Because we give solutions for handling equipment. So moving goods from one place to another. It may be within the warehouse itself, but it's still movement of goods, right? So important factors that any service-oriented, we are a service-oriented company, any service-oriented company creating solutions for handling objects in warehouses and in and anywhere within factories. It's very important that these factors are taken into consideration. For example, if you want to do well, you will have to have great efficiency and good customer service, where you understand what is the need of your customer, and then you provide that solution with efficiency. Second, technology. All of this, warehouse solutions, factory good movement solutions, all of this is becoming increasingly technology oriented. We have spoken about this in my industry analysis as well. So if you haven't done my industry analysis, I would first recommend you to get that done so that you understand what this industry is even before starting with the pre-scene. Third, for any company to do well in this market, financial stability and reputation both will be very, very important, because you want to bring a new product, but if you don't have the finance, if you're not able to raise the finance, how will you develop that new solution for movement of goods within warehouses or factories? It's not going to be possible. So these four factors I want you to keep in mind as the pillars of my industry, which Robobryce, my company, will also have to do well on if we want to succeed. So while doing this pre-scene analysis, I'm going to give you great ideas like this. I'm going to give you great relations like this, which you should keep in your mind. Firstly, because it helps you understand our company. Secondly, without understanding our company, you cannot be a good senior finance manager, which is your role in this case study exam. And thirdly, you can take these ideas and include in your mock questions to gain business skill marks. For example, if you are writing something on expansion or maybe any topic, you can start your answer or end your answer by saying that one of the major pillars of this industry is technology and financial stability. So we should go ahead with this project, for example. Now this will tell the examiner that this student has studied the industry. This student has spent time on going through the details of this company. It adds value to your answer. So this way the entire pre-scene has been detailed. You very carefully have to go through it with me. Let's continue. Robobryce assists its clients by developing and installing the systems required to store and retrieve inventory. So we develop and then install the systems to store and retrieve inventory. So software plus hardware, both are going to be important aspects of my business. For example, Robobryce might support an online retailer by supplying a system that can pick goods from storage in response to customer orders. So we can entirely create a system for an online retailer. Let's say an online retail business comes to us and tells me that this is my warehouse and I want to set up a system whereby goods are picked from storage based on the customer order. So Robobryce fits all of this into one system, software plus hardware, and then provides it and charges for this service. So you are a senior manager in Robobryce's finance function. Remember, the word here is senior manager. I have already explained the role of a senior manager in my introductory video, but I'll bring it up again. Senior managers generally look at long-term strategic issues, strategy-related decisions. Your audience in this case study exam is going to be the board of directors. They'll be consulting from you, you'll be in conversation with them. So to give a satisfactory answer, understanding the full scale of the business operation is very, very important. That is why we do a detailed pre-scene analysis, so you are not missing out on anything and you have a great understanding of our business, which naturally will make your answers more informative and give you more marks in the exam. Because without knowing the business, how much ever E3, P3 and F3 you learn, it's not going to help, it's not going to be useful. Knowing the business is where it starts, specifically for the strategic level. So you might be thinking, what is the role of a senior finance manager? Senior finance manager looks at long-term decisions, product-related decisions, diversification, project management, long-term financing, advising your top management, stakeholder management. So if you look at any of these topics here, or pretty much you pick any topic from the role of a senior finance manager, it will correlate and correspond to the E3, P3 and F3 syllabus, specifically the blueprint areas that CIMA has identified. So the conclusion is, to be a good senior finance manager, you will need to have good, sound, technical knowledge of E3, P3 and F3. So the three pillars of this exam, first being revision, second being pre-scene, and third being mock question practice. All three amalgamate, all three work together, and you will have to work on all three to ensure that it's a successful exam attempt. We are here to help you with that, but you will have to slowly follow step by step by step. So you report directly to the board and advise on special projects and strategic matters. Remember, you help with strategy matters. Strategy is an entire subject which is E3, and specifically different strategic models like the Ansough's matrix or the SFA analysis. These are present in your E3 syllabus, and you might have to use them because your job is all around strategy matters, strategy formulation. So these models could be used to provide a good answer. This is part of your E3 syllabus. So at each stage, if I find something relevant to the E3, P3 and F3 syllabus, I'm going to bring it up for you. I'm going to mention it for you. After that, Robobryce is based in Testland. It's a fictional country that they have generated, that they have created, and it has an active and well-regulated stock exchange. So it's based in Testland. It's a developed country which has active and well-regulated stock exchange. The important word here is developed country. Now you will see that this solutions for movement of goods in warehouses and in factories is a very technologically advanced industry. Let's put it that way. Now, do you think that in a country that is less developed or is going through other problems like high inflation, high interest rate, currency devaluation, this market is going to be booming in that kind of countries? I don't think so. Whereas in a developed country, there is availability of technology, availability of people spending money, availability of government support. So naturally, such a niche industry and such a technologically oriented industry is going to benefit if it's located in a developed economy. And they are telling us that Robobryce is located in a developed economy. So it opens up advantages such as better infrastructure, highly skilled workforce, and customers having the spending power. So I am already at an advantage because I am situated in a country that is already developed. Because it's developed, also keep in mind high regulation, high factors of production such as high wages, high material costs. Everything is a give and take. Developed economy has advantages but disadvantages as well. So make a note, Testland is a developed country. This means businesses have the interest and money to spend on innovative and technologically developed warehouse equipment and services. Solutions for picking goods in warehouses, in factories is something that businesses will want to spend on. This tells us that the demand conditions from the Porter's Diamond, which is in your E3 syllabus, are strong in your market. In your Testland market itself, the demand conditions are strong because you are already situated in a developed economy. This is in your E3 syllabus. Then some general information which says Testland's currency is the T dollars, and Testland requires companies to prepare financial statements in accordance with IFRS. Standard information given to us. Now to some specifications of warehouse handling. So as part of the pre-scene itself, they are giving you some warehouse handling industry background. But guess what? You would have already done this. You would have already covered this because you have done my extra industry analysis that gives you a background of what this industry is like. But this industry knowledge, which is part of the pre-scene, which we are going to cover now, is more specific to the Robobryce operations. So this is also important to go through, and that umbrella information which I gave you on this entire market is also important, which will be proven as we go through everything one by one. So let's start. Many entities rely on warehouses for the storage and management of significant quantities of parts or goods. Naturally, without warehouses, big businesses can't function. The average area of a warehouse in Testland is 1500 square meters, which is considerably large. It's close to 0.3 acres. So it's considerably large. More than 40% of the warehouses exceed 9,300 square meters, very large. And some organizations have warehouses up to 95,000 square meters. So this is going to be a market which has varying clients, varying customers. So for our business, if I were to have 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 major clients whose warehouse operations are very large, let's say for example their warehouses are 95,000 square meters, then it's going to be self-sustaining for the business, because such a large warehouse and somebody who's been in contact with my company for a very long time will generate revenue by itself again and again and again, because the requirement for warehouse handling will keep coming up. So different clients will have different needs is what I'm trying to tell you. And if you have a good bunch of clients which are relying on your warehouse management or warehouse picking services, then naturally, it's going to be a competitive advantage for the business. So warehouse handling would include planning, implementation, and control of softwares to enable efficient picking, where which good is lying. Obviously only softwares can tell you that. Safe and efficient picking using machinery. Once it's located, you got to pick it and then you got to pack it. This is what warehouse handling is in a nutshell. Planning, picking, packing. All of these factors indicate towards a capital intensive industry, because software management, actual picking using machinery, packing using machinery, all of this is capital intensive. We've already seen this in my extra industry analysis, that the nature of this industry is technologically oriented and capital intensive, because these are not small operations. So because we are speaking about or taking capital intensive nature to the fore, it brings in the need for raising capital, because to run this business and to research, to develop, to serve new clients, capital is needed for any business, and for Robobryce as well, it's the same. So this brings in your capital structure related questions, where they can ask you that we are looking to raise equity, what are the options? We are looking to raise debt, what are the options? What will be the effect on our weighted average cost of capital? This is in your F3 syllabus. This is a top issue because it keeps coming up in the exams. So issues which we feel are generally asked, we will note them as top issues, and we will also tell you where you are supposed to reference it from, which in this case is the F3 syllabus. Larger warehouses can simplify inventory management by enabling large quantities of particular items to be stored together. Their size can, however, complicate the management of the warehouses themselves. So large warehouses can simplify inventory management, but their size is what will complicate the factor. So this is the reason why this industry is growing, because there are lots of large warehouses, specifically in Testland, that they have told us. And because there are large warehouses, there will be a need for warehouse management services or warehouse goods picking services. So this is something that Robobryce is only going to benefit from. And these are areas that we can market around. The largest warehouses can require more than 1,000 staff, who may have to cover distances of hundreds of meters in order to retrieve each item required to fulfill a dispatch instruction, which means in that warehouse, using a forklift or using any other equipment, Warehouse staff will have to travel from one place to another hundreds of meters to pick that item and then dispatch it. In my industry analysis, we have already seen that this industry has been blamed for a lot of carbon emission, for not being very environmentally friendly. So how are we dealing with reducing the travel of warehouse equipment? Can this be by efficient stacking, efficient softwares? Can this be by using alternative sources of energy? I'm thinking from Robobryce's perspective. The more they travel, if Robobryce is handling a warehouse, or if Robobryce is supplying warehouse, good picking machines, are my machines efficient? Are my machines carbon neutral, or are my factories in which these machines are made carbon neutral? How are we trying to meet that goal? I'm starting to think of all of that, and I'm putting this thought in your mind, so deeper into the pre-scene, when I actually start to speak about our company, Robobryce, you can relate better, you can make sense better, because these ideas will be there with you. So these are important questions to ask when we start to speak about our company, as our industry has already been criticized for this. CSR and our stance on CSR, corporate social responsibility, will be very important to keep in mind here. What is my business doing to be different? What is my business doing to innovate and be different in terms of corporate social responsibility? This is part of my E3 syllabus. Warehouses often store many different item types that must be kept safe and accessible. Anything can be stored in warehouses. The design and equipment of warehouses can have a significant impact on the efficiency of the operations and on the associated costs. So this is where value is generated for companies like Robobryce, something that you can market around. Your marketing strategy can be one where you mention Robobryce is a company that helps you use equipment in warehouses to increase your efficiency and reduce your costs. So what we can think of this as is that Robobryce is providing solutions for better efficiency and less costs, something that we can market around, because this is the problem that companies are facing in this industry. Now to storage options. In warehouse handling, storage options is what we are looking at. So goods are often shipped on wooden pallets. An image of a wooden pallet is put over here for you, just for reference. You will see it's a wooden platform over platform over platform, and between that your goods are stored and then it's packed together. So which enable them to be lifted by forklifts, as you can see. Pallets enable efficient loading and unloading of delivery vehicles and the movements of goods within warehouses. If it comes in a truck like this, the forklift can simply pick it up, bring it out and store it wherever it wants to be, wherever it needs to be stored. Pallets are a standard size which simplifies the management of inventory. Now again, the movement of goods within a warehouse with humans around, you will see humans are involved driving the forklift. There are automated options as well, but right now I'm looking at the image that's been given to me. So when humans are around, it raises health and safety risks. This is going to be an inevitable part of the business, and controlling the same, reducing the same to the highest possible level is important for any business in this industry, because you cannot compromise on health and safety when humans are involved. It could be a human driving the forklift, it could be a human who is walking around the factory, and you have automated guided vehicles or completely automated picking machines. in any case, there is this health and safety risk which is inevitable in this business. We should keep in mind real-world examples of how health and safety lapses have caused companies to pay millions against lawsuits. One very important topic throughout your SCS pre-scene is going to be risk management. So what I want you to do is, throughout, from the very beginning, I want you to have a piece of paper where you are listing down the risks that my company faces. It could be any risk which you feel is relevant. First one I have identified for you, health and safety risk. Make a list of the risks from the very beginning to the very end, and deeper into the pre-scene, when we reach the risk analysis part, which is at the end, I will tell you the relevance of it. But do it as an exercise, because once the risks have been identified, you can start to think how that particular risk will be managed. You can start to think how that particular risk will be, controlled. Risks and risk management cycle, risk management softwares, risk management, policies, that the TARA framework for risk management is in your P3 syllabus, which is very, very important. Continuing, goods that are transported in shipping containers are rarely shipped on pallets because the pallets themselves will require and take up a lot of place. So if your goods are coming in a shipping container, generally they will not be in pallets because the pallet takes away a lot of place. Warehouses receiving such goods often load them onto pallets on arrival so that it's efficiently stored. So if it's not in a pallet, then warehouse can choose to put it in a pallet so that their storage is easier, picking is easier. Block storage, on the other hand, is the simplest way to manage palletized loads within warehouses. Image of block storage has been put up for you. You'll see a wooden pallet, but it's stored in blocks, one over the other. An area of floor space is designated for a particular item, and pallets are stacked on top of one another, one over the other, like I said. Block storage relies on the goods being strong enough to stack, because if the goods are not strong enough and they are one over the other, naturally they're going to get damaged. So incorrect storing can lead to inventory being damaged, which in turn leads to economic risk, physical safety risk, because it may fall, it may collapse. So your list of risks has already started to increase. I hope you are noting this down. Now they must also be held in sufficient quantities to make a stack worthwhile. The product must also have a long shelf life so that there is not a constant need to unstack the pallets in order to use the oldest inventory first. If you have to use, if you want the lowest pallet, you can't keep moving all of them, picking the lowest and then stacking it again. It's a waste of time, waste of efficiency, and it costs money, because time is money in any business. So block storage is inefficient if the products cannot be stacked, because it wastes the overhead space. Like you see in this image here, if overhead space is not utilized, you are losing out on a lot of potential. So warehouses generally have very high ceilings, you would have seen this, and it is desirable to make the best possible use of the height. Warehouses are often fitted with racks that enable pallets to be stored as single units and make full use of the ceiling height. And each pallet will have a specific location that is easily directly accessible. This is information that they're giving you on storage options within warehouse handling. It's background information. This will be important. We have not started to speak about our company Robobryce yet. Remember that. We're speaking about warehouse handling, and under warehouse handling, we are speaking about storage options. So the aisles between the racks are usually 3 meters wide, as you would see in the reference image over here. There are two racks and in between there is an aisle. This aisle is used for forklifts to access the pallets. Wider aisles are sometimes used to enable larger and more powerful forklifts to operate, although that arrangement will reduce the number of racks. If the let's say if the aisle is larger, naturally you're wasting more space and your stacks will be less. On the other hand, it is possible to have narrow aisles as well, like smaller aisles, creating more space for storage. But that requires the use of narrow aisle forklifts that cost more to buy and require skilled operators. So by having narrow aisles, you are increasing your risk of something going wrong against the benefit of more space for storage. It's a give and take, risk increasing, but reward also increasing. So a skilled management team who can design warehouses and reduce risk in a narrow aisle system can be seen as a competitive advantage for this business. If you have engineers, if you have skilled management team that can find a way around this to help your clients, help your customers, then naturally they will go for Robobryce equipments because you are helping them. You are making their business more profitable. So something to keep in mind. Moving on, there are various specialized racking systems that can store pallets several units deep. They're quite deep as well, so you can maximize your storage. These include racks with lanes that enable forklifts to drive into them, and racks with rollers that enable forklifts to push additional pallets in from the front. So they may have rollers. As you can see in the image here, you put a pallet and then you push it in, the roller will facilitate that movement. So all of this, they are telling you that for storage, there are very many different options that are available. These systems enable much more efficient use of space, but at a cost in terms of flexibility. Only the pallet at the front of the rack is immediately accessible. If you want something at the back, for example, goods that are close to their expiry, then you have to remove everything and then access the pallet at the back. And I don't think it's very efficient. Nobody wants to do that. Some smaller items can be stored more efficiently in cartons that are stored on shelves. A carton is a big brown box, like you can see in the image on the left hand side. It can be a big box or a small box or whatever. That's a carton. Shelves can be configured to store different combinations of weights and carton dimensions. You can have shelves where large cartons can be stored, small cartons can be stored. It all depends on your configuration. The organization of warehouses can have a significant impact on their capacity. If you don't organize it well, then even a large warehouse is not going to be an efficient place for storage. So for example, a warehouse of 1000 square meters could accommodate the following numbers of standard pallets depending on configuration. So if there is one level of racking and there is a wide aisle, full depth push racks, you have 570. But if you have 6 levels, just comparing it between one level and 6 levels, you can store 3420 full depth push racks, which means the size of the warehouse is important, yes, but also how you are using the vertical space of the warehouse is also very important. So wide aisle, narrow aisle is your first decision. Second, level is your second decision. And third, whether you want full depth push racks or not is the third decision that you have. So first level, if you have a wide aisle, 270 pallets can be stored. If you have narrow aisle, 300. If you have full depth, 570. If you have 2 levels, then the numbers double. If you have 6 levels, the numbers become 6 times. Because if it's a wide aisle, you compare 270 to 1620. A lot more can be stored. 300 to 1800 and 570 to 3420. So there is a lot of opportunity for storage as long as the warehouse is well laid out, let me say, well organized. These are maximum capacities, and it can be difficult to operate a warehouse efficiently if it is at 100% capacities. If everything is full, it's going to be difficult, right? Because managing everything is not easy. Let's say you have 3,420 pallets. Do you think it's easy to manage all of this and then retrieve the exact pallet that you want? So it may be preferable for warehouses to aim for 90 or 95% capacity. Remember, a strong value chain analysis will have to be prepared with the collaboration of the business, which we are going to be working with in the warehouse handling equipment capacity. Somebody comes to you and tells you, this is my warehouse layout. Then you will have to understand what is developing the value for them. What is generating the value for them? What is the core of their business? Because only if you understand this, then you will be able to serve them better. Then you will be able to provide them the product that they want better. So value analysis, value engineering, Porter's value chain is in your E3 syllabus. And because we are speaking about 90-95% capacity, this is also a large amount. So creating and complying with strong KPIs internally within my business, as well as reporting them to the business you are in contract with, can be seen as important for this market. For example, efficiency of your machine or production of your machine should be so efficient that it is able to very well serve a warehouse which is aiming to meet 90-95% capacity. So strong KPIs in production, strong KPIs to ensure that your machine delivers value, strong KPIs to ensure that the staff within your organization understand that, okay, this machine has to be durable, it has to achieve this kind of success, and it has to be, achieve this kind of mobility to meet 90-95% capacity is going to be important. So for any business, not only Robobryce, strong KPIs throughout the business from the lower level to the top will be important. KPIs in your E3 syllabus. So up until now, we were doing storage options. Under warehouse handling, we did different storage options that you can have. Now we are moving to warehouse picking. Picker to goods. This is the picker to goods system. So first, storage options. Second, picker to goods system, P2G. Now these technicalities are important for us to understand because they could be used in questions. For example, a question in the exam could say that the P2G system is being looked at, for example, or we have an order for the P2G system. If you don't know what P2G is, you might go blank. That is why going through the pre-scene in this detailed way that I am introducing is very, very important. So picking is the process of obtaining goods from the warehouse and preparing them for dispatch to the factory or to a consumer. Picking is affected by the nature of the business, and goods can be picked as entire pallets, whole cartons, or individual items. It will depend on the type of the business. The nature of the business can also affect the number of items in a typical pick. Some warehouses may have to fulfill orders that consist of multiple items. So one order, if there are different items, then there will be multiple picks. So an increase in items and item types increases the safety risk. Something to keep note of, because the more your the more your picker, which is an employee, has to travel, the more he has to use your machine, your equipment, the more the risk. So when online retailers, customers may order several products, each located in different areas of the warehouse at once. A supplier of vehicle parts could receive orders for 90 to 100 line items that are required urgently by car dealership workshops. So considering the nature of the business and having a strong external market analysis and customer analysis will be key for us. Because if I don't know the market of that customer, if I don't know the need of that customer, if I don't know the business of that customer, how will I give them the equipment, or how will I suggest them the equipment, or how will I create equipment which they will be able to use? So if I have a very strong external market analysis, I will know what the need is in the market, what the demand is in the market. If I have a very strong, deep knowledge of my major customers and then understanding what their business wants, I can develop those products. This can be a competitive advantage for my business. And when I'm speaking about external market analysis, there is an entire chapter in E3 which gives you models on how you can analyze the external market. So Porter's 5 forces or your Pestel analysis are common suggestions for this. But in our industry, it is a competitive advantage. Picks can be organized in different ways. Individual order pick. So a picker is given a responsibility for a single order. Okay, this is the order. Go around the warehouse and pick everything that's there in this order. Then he returns to his workstation to prepare the order for dispatch. This approach is simplest, and I will say something that has been in the market for a very long time. You have an employee moving around with a cart, picks the orders, comes back to the workstation, packs it, and then it goes ahead. It's the simplest way. It is likely to be the fastest way to prepare any given order as well. The picker is dealing with only one order at a time, so there is no risk of, or the risk is pretty limited of something going wrong. Now this type of system seems suitable for a small warehouse, because if there are big levels, if there's a large warehouse, how much will that person travel? He will have to use technology, or he will have to use some kind of technological aid in terms of equipment or in terms of software which is helping him get to that item so that he can pick it. So this type of system seems suitable for a small warehouse, and the use of technology in the form of big data, like I said, software, use of automated guided vehicles can prove very beneficial. So in this market, it's all about research, all about development, all about how you take your business forward, all about investment, which we have learned in the industry analysis as well. So I have given you 2 areas of investment: big data, software, plus AGV, automated guided vehicles, hardware. I'm giving you both options here as an expansion opportunity or as a competitive advantage generating area for my business, because that's the way the market is moving. Now it may be necessary to walk or drive a forklift over a significant distance if there are several items on the order that are stored at some distance from one another. That is a particular problem if orders comprise small number of items, because pickers will have to return to their workstations frequently, creating a great deal of unproductive time. If it's one order with only one item, he has to go get it, come back. Then another order, go get it, come back. Third order, go get it, come back. Lots of unproductive time. Time being wasted is money being wasted. So in today's modern environment, an investment in technological softwares and systems is key to ensure efficiency throughout the organization. Principles of total quality management would suggest that we avoid waste in terms of time, efficiency, and productivity. So if some client comes to you and tells you that I have a let's say picker to goods system and I have an individual order pick system, then you should quickly be able to suggest that okay, firstly you need to use big data or you need to use softwares to enable the picker to reach the area where, where the good is in a quick, efficient way. Combine orders if the need be, or you can suggest automated guided vehicles. But this is only possible because we are going through this detailed pre-scene discussion and because we are talking about quality. Quality and total quality management is part of your E3 syllabus. Sometimes orders will consist of items that cannot be combined with anything. Perhaps an entire pallet has to be picked and creates an entire load for a forklift or for a picker's trolley. So if it's large enough, then it can be one entire load as well. So first one was individual order pick. Second one is cluster pick. So over here, a picker is given multiple orders at once and picks items for each from different racks and shelves. So he has different orders and he's picking from different racks and shelves. The picker can then fulfill several orders at once, increasing productivity through reducing walk times for each order. This approach may work well for an online retailer whose customers tend to order a small number of products at once. But there is an increased risk of errors that the wrong item is given to the wrong person and then is dispatched as well. So the nature of the business, you will have to see what customer you are serving. The nature of the business will greatly determine the service we need to provide. So the competency here will be to identify the need and deliver the value for each business separately. So identify the need of your customer and then deliver the value for each business separately. Next, we have batch pick. So items for a number of orders are picked and brought to a secondary handling area where a further picker allocates items to individual orders. Pick the batch, bring it over here to a secondary area where further picking happens. So we did individual order pick, then we did cluster pick, then we did batch pick, and now to zone pick. So picking is subdivided into zones. For example, an online retailer of electric goods may set aside separate zones for large kitchen appliances, small kitchen appliances, electronics. So if you know if a small kitchen appliance, you have to go in zone B. Each item in an order would be picked separately from the respective zones. And these approaches are known as picker to goods. Any of these that you use, they are known as picker to goods because they involve pickers walking or driving around warehouses while collecting the goods. Items that are small and light may be carried in boxes or trays. Heavier items may be placed on trolleys, which can be driven by electric motors and steered by the picker. Pickers can also use forklifts. So this is the picker to goods options that we have. Moving on, they are telling me that pickers can also be supported by cobots or collaborative robots. I've put an image for you just for reference. Cobots can come in variety of types. It could be a powered trolley. It could be something like, robotic arms that is picking and helping the picker. It could be anything. Cobots are come in variety of variants, variety of options. So pickers are also supported by cobots which carry goods that have been picked by the human picker. So the cobot in this case, which is being spoken about, is a powered trolley that guides the picker to the location of the goods that are to be picked. The cobot displays the item to be picked on its screen upon arrival at the location. So making life easier. Cobot is making the life easier. The picker can then stack the item on the cobot before it departs for the next location. So over here the cobot is being spoken about is a powered trolley, takes you to the location, picker picks it up, stacks it, again takes you to another location. It improves efficiency because the picker does not have to return to a workstation after picking each item. That does not need to happen. So data will be a huge asset and also risk area for this business. Deeper into the pre-scene, I am going to have a supplementary reading on how big data is being used in this industry. But as of now, we know that running robots or running a warehouse or running equipment within a warehouse is not possible without good softwares, and softwares need data. So we will have access to huge quantity of internal data, which is my company data, and external data as well, because we will be working collaboratively with our customers. They will be sharing data with us, and only then we'll be able to tell them which kind of warehouse equipment is best for them. So we are working with a whole range of internal as well as external data. So privacy of this information must be of primary concern. If any customer data or if any internal data is leaked, it has caused companies to pay millions in lawsuits for not keeping private data safe. This could be any kind of data, internal or external. And because we are speaking about data risk, your P3 syllabus comes into the picture. And deeper, your concepts on cybersecurity risk management, cybersecurity, safety, the whole P3 syllabus, the whole chapter on P3 on cybersecurity will become important here because of the nature of this business, because of how this business functions. After this, we have robot to goods. We had picker to goods, P to G. Now we have robot to goods, R to G. Picking has traditionally been a labor-intensive process, which we saw in the picker to goods system. Because it has proved difficult to automate the retrieval of goods that are different in terms of size and weight. So from our industry analysis, we have already seen that the leaders in this industry are investing in research and development. If our company is not doing the same, we will be left behind. When we start speaking about Robobryce, very important to note if we are paying attention to research and development. There are, however, new technologies that enable goods to be collected and delivered to human operators for packaging and dispatch. These technologies are often referred to as automated storage and retrieval systems. Automated. So this is ASRS. Automated storage and retrieval. Automation obviously has a number of advantages. Faster than human pickers, less likely to drop or damage, enhanced security, reduces risk of injury because humans are not involved, and fewer picking errors. Now, picking can be automated in several different ways, in particular through the use of carousels and robots. I'll tell you what it means, but carousels and robots are used. But think, automated storage and retrieval systems, everything being automated, not going to be cheap. So technological advancements are naturally capital intensive in nature. This has been spoken about as a restraining factor in my industry analysis as well. Selecting sources of finance and the right source of finance will be very important for this business. And in my financial analysis, deeper in the pre-scene, we'll be discussing the current situation of our company, the current position of my company, and then we'll be in a better place to suggest the source of finance. But it also opens up avenue for growth opportunities where if your company sees another company with good technology, it considers purchasing it. For example, my company, I'm just giving an example, okay? So let's say my company sees a very good technology or a new technology in robots, which does not need to be charged as frequently as our current products, for example. So we are looking to acquire it. That could be a question in the exam. When we are looking to acquire a company, we need to know the you need to know the right price to pay for that company. So asset-based valuation comes into the picture, cash flow-based valuation comes into the picture, which is your F3 syllabus. So there can be various permutations, combinations in which they can ask you concepts from the E3, P3 and F3. And I'm trying to bring about the most common ones which keep coming up in the exam, so that obviously you can make, you're ready, you're prepared, you have revised them, and it would be a better approach for you. So that has got me to the end of part 1 of our pre-scene analysis. My pre-scene analysis is very candid, very straightforward, just to ensure that you understand everything. So this was part 1, introduction of the company, setting the pattern, telling you how I go about the stuff. My entire pre-scene analysis is going to be 3.5 hours long. And it's very important to do it in this way so that you go through the pre-scene only 2 times. My video only 2 times. Everything will start to set in your mind. Everything will start to make sense. That's how I have created it. So this is part 1. In part 2, we have the financials. In part 2, we have the operations of our company. And part 3, we have the financials of our company. So everything I have broken down into parts, so it's easier for you to absorb, easier for you to take in, easier for you to understand. But it's a very well curated pre-scene analysis which you will have to spend time on. We'll give you each part one by one by one. Your job is to ensure that you gain value from the explanations. So this is part 1 of our pre-scene analysis. Access to our entire pre-scene analysis is given to students who sign up to our study course. So if you've signed up, you're in the right place. If you haven't, this is your opportunity. This is part 1. I hope you've understood everything. Go through it again if you want, then begin with part number 2 once available. Thank you.